Welcome back to the Fox Robbins Business Show. Great to have you back. We've got a hot one for you guys tonight. You're going to really like it. We've got Leslie Fishlock, who is the founder, owner, president of Genovate, and more on that subject very quickly. The Fox Robbins Show, as you know by now, we're headed into our second year. This is the show that is intended to develop your best business ideas. And I'm the host, Bill Fox, and the co-host is none other than Cliff Robbins.
Mr. Bill, how are you?
Now, as we go along here, if I say coach, that's him. He's my coach. And by the way, you know, I've got my dinner napkin on tonight, but you don't. And
That's right.
What is that? What's going on here?
Well, as you know, remember a few shows ago, I spoke about proper dress, proper business dress.
Yeah.
I have never worked with a technology company where they wear a tie, but the most well-dressed CEO of any technology company or any angel group or venture capital group that's working in the technology space that I've ever worked with, this is their finest dress. An Oxford shirt, no tie, and a sport jacket. That's their dress.
That's
so my tie has to be there.
That's the uniform.
Of course, that's the uniform. That's proper dress.
I thought I saw Bill Gates with his wife, you know, talking about his new foundation. He's got a tie on, you know. But
that's because he was on the Columbia Columbia Business School with Warren Buffett. They both had ties on because that's Warren. Warren's proper dress is actually Warren had the Columbia sweater on. You know, Harvard refused to allow him into the school.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, big mistake.
That was
Warren Buffett.
A wonderful decision.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have Cliff's notes in every episode, and we're going to turn to Cliff right now. And Cliff, what have you got for us?
Bill, thank you. Tonight, I want to talk about e-tools. And e-tools have become a very important marketing vehicle. Of course, tonight's guest, Leslie Fishlock, is a Geek Girl Supreme, and we'll talk about that later on. I've spoken about the book, and I made you read it, remember?
You did.
The New Rules of Marketing in PR. We probably sold more David Merriman Scott books than anybody else in the country. But the rules of marketing have changed, and you really have to start to understand what are e-tools. The next slide says, what are e-tools? And e-tools are basically the tools by which you can, they're programs. They're on the internet, and you're able to comment, talk to customers, interact with customers. E-tools are internet-based programs, and you've got to get involved with them. In today's very difficult economy, we're talking about reducing marketing budgets. That can be the kiss of death if your sales are already dropping. E-tools are a very inexpensive way for you to promote your business and create a brand identity. The use of, next slide please, David, an e-newsletter, the use of blogs, these things are what's happening in today's world. You have to give your customer an opportunity to talk to you. You have to create strategies and build communities and build your brand. And these e-tools also allow you to measure your results. And that's one of the most important things to know, that these things are working for you. It takes time. It doesn't take a lot of money to do it. One of the questions I'm always asked, next slide asks, who's using e-tools? Well, e-tools are being used by family and friends, certainly. Students and teachers. As a teacher, I'm using it with my students. Entrepreneurs are using e-tools as a way to communicate with their customers. Big corporations are starting to catch on to the value of e-tools, but what's most important is the people using e-tools are probably your customers, and you want to be talking to them, and you want to be listening to what they're saying. Next slide, please, David. Social media. Social media is organic online communication. It's just interacting with your customers. The old sales model was one of inform, persuade, and then remind. How many times do you see a Budweiser ad or a Coke ad on TV? It's inform the customer of what's available, persuade them to buy what you're selling, and then remind them to continue to buy. The new sales model, the e-social media tools that are out there now, talk about demonstrating, involving, and empowering your customer, creating a pull, allowing your customer to buy from you, not push something on you. Social networking is an important piece of your marketing strategy. And the next slide will show you that social networking is the ability to communicate with groups and individuals, what I'm calling nano-targeting. I like that word.
Oh, boy, that's pretty short.
We're always talking about targeted marketing. Well, why would you use these things? I'm telling you, you can't afford to be invisible. You need to be visible to your customers. The next slide will tell you right at the very top, this is the way to get your message to a lot of people and to get it to them very quickly. Just using these e-tools is another method of increasing your search engine optimization. We talk about SEO all the time. It'll increase traffic. It'll give you new qualified leads, what I'm calling prospects instead of suspects. There's a big difference between a prospect and a suspect. We were discussing that earlier. It's a great place to gather that customer feedback so that you're able to fine-tune your offering. And what's also very important in today's economy, as I said, is to reduce your marketing expense. Yes, your budgets are being attacked by loss of revenue. These tools, this Facebook, Twitter, and we're going to be talking about some of these things with Leslie Fishlock, are a way to you to continue to expand your marketing reach without breaking the bank.
Okay, Coach, that's super. And speaking of e-tools, let's talk to an expert.
This is the Geek Girl Supreme, I call her.
Geek Girls, yeah. Leslie Fishlock, founder, owner of Genovate, which is a professional web development, design, and social media inbound marketing firm specializing in standards-compliant Ruby on Rails web application development.
Like that stuff?
That's right.
I love it.
And clients, get this, clients all over the globe. Remember?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. They're in Falmouth.
The Earth is flat. You know, technology allows
exactly.
you to go anywhere you want.
I mean, she doesn't do hardly any business on Cape Cod.
That's fantastic. And she's also founder and #1 Geek Girl. We'll talk about that.
Chief Geek.
That's right. And to educate and empower every girl and woman at every age level, every skill level, and every income level on computer technology.
Right.
So she's pretty super, and she's also vice chair of the Cape Cod Technology Council, and helping other businesses. And Woman Entrepreneur of the Year by the American Business Women's Association.
Right.
How about that? So you guys hang on. We'll be right back in a jiff with Leslie Fishlock. Don't go away. Don't move out of that chair. Don't run for the fridge. And don't touch the remote control. We'll be right back.
You're going to love this one.
Welcome back to the Fox Robbins Business Show. Thanks for hanging in there with us and not running to the fridge. We're back with Leslie Fishlock. And Leslie, welcome to the Fox Robbins Business Show.
Thank you.
Hey, Leslie, how are you?
Good to see you, Cliff.
Good to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you.
I've wanted to have you on the show for some time. I've been talking about some of the books and the new rules of marketing and PR, and talking about the importance of technology to businesses, and the world is flat. And these have been themes that we've used in the shows previously. And tonight, we're going to talk to what I consider to be the supreme techno geek girl. That's you.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about Genovate's history.
Sure. Well, I'm president and CEO of Genovate, which we started, my boyfriend and business partner, Chris Corvo, and I started about 8.5 years ago. And it came from, you know, when we started the business, it was like we could always do things better. And we wanted to do a certain kind of programming, certain kind of, you know, web applications. And so that's how Genovate started. And we've been creating, you know, certain kind of programming and web applications ever since. So that's what we started.
One of the things I've mentioned, and we've talked about it before, is what's his name? The World is Flat, the economist?
Thomas Friedman.
He's really good with names. I just remember the names of the books. We've been talking about how businesses, anybody can start a business here on Cape Cod or in southeastern Massachusetts in general, and export their product or service to foreign countries like Missouri and Minnesota.
And New Jersey.
And that's what Genovate is doing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
your customers really aren't based on Cape Cod.
Good portion of our clients are not
Yep.
Cape-based, and one in particular is the project we're working on called StockTwits, which, if you know anything about Twitter, it's a derivative of Twitter. It's based on people who are in the stock market. It just received a lot of funding, and we are basically the developers and programmers and work on that project. So that's really huge. And we're competing against programmers out in Silicon Valley, and they have offices in West Coast, New York City, Phoenix, San Fran, and we do a lot of the work for them. So
And you have offices
very cool.
right here in Falmouth.
We're in Katamet.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah.
And
really great.
what possessed you to, I love the logo, I love the name, I love the whole premise of Geek Girls. Tell us a little bit of what your thinking behind Geek Girls was and what Geek Girls is and how's it going?
Well, because I didn't have enough to do.
Oh yeah, right.
Working, at Genovate, and it wasn't just working with clients who were women, and just friends. My mom in Florida. A lot of women just weren't tuning into the whole sort of like programming and everything about computer technology. So what we were trying to do was, we were getting frustrated as technologists to try to make sure they had what they needed, and they were getting frustrated because computer and techie people are analytical. They don't explain things very well. So what we were trying to do is basically say, how can we do this a little bit better? How can we explain this? And we came up with Geek Girl Camp. And one night in April last year, we were going to do it for 20 women, and 125 showed up. And we were doing a 3-hour event where we just told them a little bit about social media, Photoshop, video, internet marketing, web, and how to fix your PC.
Speaking, this is just a year. I mean, it's just a year or year and a half. I mean, it's very recent that you started this idea.
Yeah, we did it in, we did that, and this year, March of 2009, we did our first boot camp on Cape Cod. This is, Geek Girl Camp is becoming a real major brand right now, and it all started here in Cape Cod. And what I like to say is, geez, if you can do this thing on Cape Cod, you can do it anywhere.
Absolutely.
So, we did one on South Shore and one on Cape Cod. We had almost 200 women at each event with very little marketing. And the funny part about it is that it's not all about using social media to get the women here, because the women we needed weren't on it. So how do you market to them? Well, flyers, you have to show up at events.
The old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
You still have to do the old-fashioned stuff, too.
Exactly.
Right.
We were on, people asked us to be on radio. We were on the news up in Boston, which was really exciting.
Right.
So that helped.
Tonight on Cliff's Notes, I spoke about e-tools and the importance of getting into the 21st century and utilizing these things to create your brand, to promote your business, to communicate with your target audience, to listen. Those are the things I was talking about. Why do you think small business people should pay attention to the use of e-tools?
Many different reasons. It's going to be resources, saving resources.
Money.
Mean, a lot of these things are free, people. Free.
Right.
You can get on them very easily. It just takes time commitment, and that's the biggest thing. And yes, time is money also. But I think if you really make some kind of effort to do these certain things, you get some phenomenal results from them. The other thing is that if the world is going this way, and your clients are going this way, customers, it's all about who you're selling to and how they want to be sold to in a lot of ways. It's not really about how you view the internet. So if most of your audience is going to, wants things in a certain way and you're not providing that, they're going to go to the next competitor. So it's very important to kind of know these tools. It's very easy to learn them. That's why we do Geek Girl Camp. We do the boot camps. We do, sometimes we try to do dinners. We have blog posts. We have lots of different things to try to let you know what's the latest going on in technology.
Hopefully you're using e-newsletters to communicate with your customers on a regular basis, that you're doing your blogs and you're going to the proper blogs and you're driving, and you're using all those things. When it comes to e-tools, the social media that we're talking about, you mentioned that time is money. Well, again, the revenues have been impacted negatively in this economy for so many companies, and their budgets are under stress. These tools don't cost any money. They do take time. So I'm starting to think, well, maybe time is not money. In other words, it doesn't negatively impact the cash flow when you write a $2,000 check to do the advertising program, to do the mailing. It's going to take you some time to sit down and get up to speed on utilizing these tools, setting up your content, setting up the Facebook, the LinkedIn, working with the Twitter and all of those things. But it's not a lot of money, right? No money.
No, I mean,
no money.
most of everything is free. I mean,
Right.
you know, very, very few things do cost money. Maybe if you want to get it mobile on your iPhone or
Right.
something like that, $1.99 to use a Twitter client or something like that. It's very inexpensive to do. I think the biggest part is what people really have to understand is that, you know, the old days of PR, you know, everybody was fighting to get to the top, so it was press release, me to the top.
Right.
You know, the whole idea about social media is community based, so it's not that whole sort of me. It's about, you know, how much more can I promote everyone around me that's going to help me to be able to do that. And I think that's the biggest thing that if you're getting into social media and you're finding it's not working for you, it's usually because you might be talking about yourself all the time or talking about, you know, your products or services all the time and not talking about like resources like, you know, whether it's a builder or a designer or a realtor or something like that. You know, you've got to put some links out there and got to put pictures and all these other things about, you know, here's a great resource from the Home Builders Association or something like that, and have them read some other stories besides what you're always saying about your
Educating them.
business. Absolutely, it's becoming a trust agent, and that's the big thing.
Which leads us to right into some of these books. You know, at the beginning of the show, Mr. Bill said, how many clients are you up to? You're over 1,700. I said, no, that was a year ago. I'm over 1,900 entrepreneurs that I've worked with now in my career.
Including me.
Including you, one of my prize students, all right?
And I listened.
Hey, boy, did you. And you went to work, so did Chris. And you told me, Cliff, I'm sick of listening to you say you've read over 1,000 books, so you got to get a closer number on that. But these are 3 I haven't read, and I'm reading books all the time, and these look very interesting. I'm going to buy them. Tell us a little bit about
Who's the teacher now, Sensei?
You are. The student has become the master.
Exactly, but that's what you always want to do. You want people to outperform you, you know, and you want them to become the teachers.
Absolutely.
That's the whole
That is
cycle
the
about.
goal. That's my
That's
goal.
the cycle about being a good trust agent too.
I got some awards from the governor, you know, for clients that I helped be successful in business. I said, don't give me the award, give it to them. They're the ones that did the work, and you're the same thing. You know, so you teach me a little bit about trust branding in these books.
This is a great book. It's by a good friend, Chris Brogan, who he is one of the best in the whole social media area. It's called Trust Agents, and everybody really wants to become a trust agent. It's one of the it's the defining thing when you're online. You know, you want people to trust your brand. You don't want to keep poking out there and saying me, like we were talking about community. It's about becoming that trust agent, having people trust your brand, what you're about to say. More people are going to follow you when they have that trust.
Right.
More people are going to buy from you. And you've got to form that trust with people, and it's a lot about what you say. So I would highly recommend this, Chris Brogan's book.
Yep. So this is Trust Agent by Chris Brogan.
And Julian Smith, they wrote it together.
Using the web to build influence, improve reputation, and earn that all-important word, trust. Trust Agents. Good book. What else have you got? Old Master?
We have a great book, O'Reilly Media, which is probably the #1 place to get a lot of good tech books. Big sponsor of Geek Girl Camp. They give us so many really cool books about you know, tech and so on. Tamar Weinberg wrote a really good book called The New Community Rules, Marketing on Social Media. This is a really good book too. I would highly recommend reading more about this and following her on Twitter and other.
Okay, this is the second book I'm going to
Media.
purchase, The New Community Rules, Marketing on the Social Web.
Yep.
Excellent. do not remove from the help desk.
Yes,
at
we
the
run
company.
help desks. In fact, we're asked to be at the Mass Conference for Women next Thursday.
Yeah.
5,000 women are coming to the Mass Convention Center, and Geek Girl was asked to.
Oh, this I've got to get to. It's an introduction to social media marketing, goal setting in a social environment. This looks excellent. Thank you.
That's a good one.
Another one, the new community rules, marketing on the social web. Okay, there's another one. And the third one?
This one's The Art of Community by, I think it's Jono Bacon, but this is a good book, also by O'Reilly. It stresses more than anything about the whole entire community aspect, about you leading your own community, being a trust agent, talking about your community, your brand, your business, and always helping other people out. And that's really how people are going to trust you more. If you're willing to go out there and promote other people, people are going to listen to that more.
Right, educating them.
It's all about education.
I mean, you know more about your product or service than anybody out there.
Sure.
Anybody, and if you use your e-newsletter as a sales tool, that's a mistake. Michael always talks about that, and we talk about Michael Katz and the BluePenguinDevelopment.com and his e-newsletter, and he's always talking about building your brand, building trust, and just communicating, educating the world.
Sure.
That's what you're really trying to do, and what you're really doing, from my viewpoint, is just staying in touch with them. What easier way to stay in touch with them than it is to send them an e-newsletter, to be constantly in contact, pun intended, I guess.
Constantly is the word, though. Constant, commitment, community. These are words that they're not lightly used.
Right.
When we start talking about being online, I mean, everyone says, "Oh, geez, Leslie, but you're online 14 hours a day." Well, I understand that because a lot of it's my business, but Geek Girl Camp also. If you're not doing that, you have to be constant. You have to be. If you're on Twitter, you have to make sure that people are receiving certain things and you're promoting it. Facebook fan pages, LinkedIn groups, great, for the business people to start a group and really talk about that and gain your own community, have people join that. Facebook fan pages are great. I mean, most brands are really focusing not as much on Twitter, but really on Facebook fan pages like Coca-Cola and Starbucks and so on. They're Red Bull. I mean, you name it. They're really pages. That's where they're getting a lot of things. And just what was really funny was, remember, like on the back of a Cheerios box, it was like, okay, fill this out, and you too can win a toy. So you fill it out, you mail it, you spend money on a stamp, and then 5 months later you will have a winner. My God, that's what they're doing on Facebook fan pages for brands instantly. And if I want to win an iMac or a laptop, I'll find out within 24 hours if I've won.
Right.
So it's much different about how to run contests and promotions and giveaways and stuff like that.
And promote your company and build trust and build your brand and all of the things we're constantly talking about.
In the good old days, I mean, I think that you were more engaged in launching out at the audience. You'd put an advertisement in the paper or a magazine. You were pushing a one-way street.
Right.
In a way. I don't want to, but
no,
but I mean, you put an ad. You weren't sure who was going to see that ad. I mean, who's going to look at it or whether they liked it or not. Maybe your newsletter, I was trying to think, your press release.
It's the difference between.
You keep pushing this stuff out. So what you're telling these,
it's outbound marketing to inbound marketing. That's the whole thing.
It's a new game.
Right.
Exactly. Outbound marketing, think about, PR, think about direct mail, and to an extent, email newsletters. But the inbound marketing is very different. It's about people coming into your site because you're using tools to get them there and bring them in.
What I'm
but
talking
when you're
about.
Talking, that's when you're talking, when someone's speaking to you, they better start thinking about it's a new ball game.
It's all about inbound marketing for us. I mean, that's the big game.
She's using the term outbound marketing. I'm saying push.
Yep.
Now the world is inbound marketing. I'm saying pull. Same thing. Exactly the same.
But this whole idea is stop saying me, I, and and here's that product, buy that. I mean, you've got it's building that relationship as you just talked about that, but that's going to be hard, Leslie. That's going to be hard for a lot of people, I would think.
No. they can
Oh,
do
you're
it.
always you're talking to people
It
about
is,
this.
but you know, when I started my business, it was, some people get it automatically and naturally about, you know, you've got to help other people get to where they need to be around you to build it stronger. So, I mean, if you come from that idea of really kind of trying to build that community and so on, I think people get it a little bit more, you know, easily. You know, we used to rely on, like we said, like radio and PR and all these other kind of, you know, outbound marketing all the time and direct mail. The problem is like,
Direct mail.
you know,
Right.
how do you know, like if you put an ad in a magazine, who's seeing it? But what magazines can do right now is that they can use that ad and they can really promote it through social media tools to get people to look at that, whether they put their magazine online and, you know, guide people to there and, you know, talk about their clients more.
All right.
Just one last question, because we're running out of time quickly, as we always do. Where do these people start? Where do you recommend that they start? I mean, it can be overwhelming or daunting to some folks. Where do you think they should start to get involved with e-tools?
I would highly recommend, because Geek Girl Camp is not just about me.
Right.
We have girls. We have you know, Paula Hersey, June Bertucci. You know, all the girls you can think about locally
Right.
who are
I know them all.
tech. Exactly. So I mean, we're a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
What I would say is that come to geekgirlcamp.com. Email me, let me know. I'm a great person to give you resources. I can follow our blog, follow our Twitter posts, follow our Facebook fan pages, LinkedIn groups. What we do is that we link resources all the time for you, but the internet is wide open with webinars and
People can,
there's
can
so
reach you
much
at
there.
genovate.com.
Well, geekgirlcamp.com is great. Leslie at
geekgirl.com.
geekgirlcamp.com.
Right.
And we would love
Good.
to help you out and come
Okay.
to boot camp.
Cool. Leslie, we're out of time. Thank
my
you
gosh.
so very much for
Thanks,
coming.
Cliff.
I enjoyed
Appreciate it
And
so
as usual,
much.
I learned something from the new teacher. The master has become the student. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
And thank you guys for joining us on the Fox Robbins Business Show. I know you enjoyed listening to Leslie. We'll have to have Leslie back.
Oh, yeah.
She's got so much to say. It's you know, we got to get you back sometime.
Sure, love to come.
And thank you guys for watching. You can always comment to us at foxrobbins@gmail.com. Also, you can see past episodes of the Fox Robbins Show at capemedia.org. And thank you to our director, David Major, our assistant director, Mary Alexander, and coach. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bill, thank you
And
as
we'll
always.
see you guys next time.